my calculations are correct, when this baby hits 88 miles per hour, you're gonna see some serious shit.
They're here.
Do you really think you have a chance against us, Mr. Cowboy?
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
It's showtime.
Right, welcome everybody to another episode of the VHS Strikes Back. I'm one of your hosts, Chris, and my co-host and very good friend is Dave.
Hey there, Chris, and hello to our listeners out there. Welcome to the VHS Strikes Back, the show where we dust off the old video player and go on a nostalgic journey to look at the good and the bad movies of yesteryear. Now, Chris, what are we going to review this week?
Well, Dave, we're coming up to Halloween season, and it's my pick, and this is out mid-October, which, funny enough, Dave, as we record this does go off Netflix on the 20th or the 21st of October, so Be quick, people. Typical, the curse of the VHS Strikes Back. It does say on Netflix, so it is on there, guys. Now, this wasn't intentionally a stitch-up, Dave. I just looked for something Halloween-based. I did look for martial arts Halloween movies, and there wasn't many, let's be honest. And then I was even going down the Cobra route of, is there some sort of pumpkin in one of these martial art films that can get away with this Halloween? There isn't, Dave. Lauren Avedon even came back into the fray, Dave, and there was nothing. However, I have had this in my back pocket. One I absolutely loved when it first came out. I don't know how I ended up watching it, but it would have been the sort of thing Sam would have watched. But I think it might have been the fact that it was Hugh Jackman and he'd just come off the back of X-Men 1 and 2, where I didn't even know who he was until he did X-Men. So anything he's done outside of X-Men, I've pretty much watched. So this came out and it's got Kate Beckinsale as well. And I was like, yeah, I'll have a bit of that. But he's rated appallingly, Dave, which I have. I think we need to discuss this. It's at 24% on Rotten Tomatoes, but on the IMDb it's 6.1. So it's all over the place. So anyway, I haven't said what we're doing. This one is Mr. Hugh Jackman, as I say, Kate Beckinsale, Dave, directed by Stephen Sommers. This one is Van Helsing. So there was never a sequel, and we'll talk about that because there should have been. And it was actually a massive financial success as well, to be fair. But do you remember seeing this one, Dave, or did you even see it at the cinema?
So I didn't see this one at the cinema. This was more of I think it was still Love Film at the time. You know, you get the old DVDs posted through to you. And we'd send it. I think this is the latest movie that we've done. We've always said the cutoff would be 2005, but I don't think we pushed it quite so close as this. But yeah, this was definitely a DVD, I'm afraid, not a VHS. And yeah, I don't think I'd seen too many things like it. I mean, another one that comes out, I'm sure it was around this time, is The Leave Extraordinary Gentleman with Sean Connery in.
Yes.
The thing that basically finished him off as an actor. He was like, right, I'm done after that. But very similar sort of concepts in terms of taking characters that we all saw the Hammer horror movies growing up as kids and stuff, and they by this time they'd become very old hat, hadn't they? You know, the films of the 60s that, like say, you'd watch the reruns and whatever, and then you'd gone through the 80s and 90s where you have the more serious hardcore horror that we've spoke about in the past, and this was bringing back those older characters, but in this mashed up, it's almost like the Avengers, isn't it? Like MCU, but for these older kind of horror characters like Dracula, Frankenstein, werewolves and stuff. So I have to say, Chris, when I watched this for the first time, I really enjoyed it. Now, part of that as well is probably, going back to this time, this is one of the most beautiful looking casts that you're ever likely to put together. Everyone across the board is good looking pretty much. But yeah, and then you got that kind of almost cyberpunk, basically you've got James Bond injected into a Van Helsing universe. I mean, to me, Van Helsing's Peter Cushing, just politely in his very posh British accent trying to take down Dracula. And here you had, like say Wolverine, you'd already had X-Men 1 and 2 by this point, hadn't you? I don't think 3 had come out yet. But yeah, was really intrigued going into it and then really enjoyed watching it. And it's one of those where I just think it's, I suppose if you properly critique it as if you're Commode or something like that, yeah, maybe it doesn't stand up in terms of continuity. Some of the CGI is a bit shoddy, and but it's a fucking lot of fun. So that's what that's the kind of memory I have on it. So I was a little bit scared almost going back, because I thought, well, I remember enjoying it. Again, didn't go on to IMDb or anything like that back in the day, so it's more like now because we do this, and it's like, oh, let's have a look at the reviews and stuff. And so I was like, oh shit, is this gonna hold up really badly? But how about yourself, Chris?
Yeah, I'm with you. I think like, I don't know where I've seen it. It would definitely have been a rental, but absolutely loved it the first time round, and always felt it was underrated. I know it was. I always thought it sat at like 6s and 7s for the reviews, but Hugh Jackman is basically playing himself, and he's playing a version of Logan, really, Dave, which is quite apt, really, because you did send me the link before, but I'd stayed up and watched the show. They've actually properly shown some gameplay, the new Wolverine game, which is out next year from Insomniac, so I'll be all over that on the PlayStation. Does look good.
Did you play the one on the PS3?
No, you know what? And everyone says the Origins game is so underrated, isn't it?
It was so good. I think, yeah, that's right. It was released around 2008-ish, I think, around Wolverine Origins times. But yeah, I just remember it was so violent, and the new trailer looks like it's captured exactly that, but obviously the graphics are so much better.
I can't wait for it. Really can't. But yeah, this is just one of them films. I think I've only ever seen it once, maybe twice, but always enjoyed it and never understood the sort of hate behind it, because it's just a 2-hour action fucking extravaganza, really, isn't it? They're throwing in characters. I know we're not in the review yet, but no, I when it comes to it and I'm looking for movies, I'm like, oh, I love Van Helsing. I'm going to have to watch it. Not just because of Hugh Jackman, Dave, which I've mentioned a few times. We'll never disclose what my username is today, but let's just say it's part of his co-stars, acting skills.
Yeah. Well, on that note, Chris, should we get into our trailer?
Let's go.
So even before we start, obviously, we've established a pattern now that I put this shit together and you don't even look at it until this very moment. So I thought this week, I'm going to have a little bit of fun with that. So here we go. In the time of darkness, where monsters roam the night, one man must fight them all, armed with only gadgets, growls, and the world's most impractical hat.
Ah, yes, the hat! I am now German. So, it's supposed to be Transylvanian. So big, so majestic. It's
so big!
It's the Madonna with the big boobies. Practically its own character.
From the
Sorry.
From the director of The Mummy comes a tale of terror so drenched in CGI you'll wonder if your DVD player's having a stroke.
No, Dave, they creatures, they are glorious. They werewolf flips, they bat, they PlayStation graphics.
See Frankenstein's monster, not feared, but whinging about a bloke who's dropped his steak bake outside Greg's.
He's sensitive. I don't know what language. Soulful, like the poet, only louder and more damn. Now I sound like I'm selling the Meerkat Day. 2 for 1 Wednesday.
Witness Dracula, part villain, part pantomime dame. All teeth, no dignity.
But he's so romantic, the moonlight, the shouting, the unconvincing Romanian village. This is taking me back to RTL, Dave.
Van Helsing. He's got the gadgets, he's got the growl, and he's got 2.5 hours you will never get back.
This big, oh yeah. Now available wherever CGI goes to die. Yes, Adolf. I don't know, I was all over the place.
In 1887 Transylvania, Dr. Victor Frankenstein, aided by his assistant Igor and Count Dracula, create a monster. Dracula kills Frankenstein when he refuses to go along with the vampire's designs for the creature, as Igor, revealed to be under Dracula's pay, watches impassively. As a mob storms the castle, the monster flees to a windmill with Frankenstein's body. The mob burns down the windmill, seemingly killing the monster. A year later, Gabriel Van Helsing, a monster hunter who works with the Knights of the Holy Order, an organization that protects mankind, travels to Notre Dame, Paris, and kills Dr. Jekyll after a brawl with Mr. Hyde. Now, Chris, what do you reckon to the opening of this movie?
Very good, Dave. I like that intro. Yeah, you know what? I had completely forgot a lot of this movie. You know the beats, and there's a few things like, oh yeah, I remember that. But the actual whole thing that I knew he was like a monster hunter and all that thing. But the fact that we've got, Jekyll and Hyde in here and Hugh Jackman, Dave, I've got to say, I don't know what accent he's going for in this at all. Because at the start, he's pure Aussie accents in there. And then as the movie goes on, he throws in a bit of American, which, we know he can do. He does the Logan thing, doesn't he? He can do an American accent.
Well, it's and Canadian, the character. So
well, he's Canadian, but, you understand what I'm saying, Dave. That sort of part of the world, then. I'll go with that. We'll go with that. On the west coast of America, stroke Canada, then we'll go with the Vancouver side, we'll say. But what I
pretty
don't
sure
get...
Vancouver's the East Coast, isn't it? West Coast?
West Coast, yeah.
I don't know.
That's West Coast.
The North American continent, let's
that's
say.
The one, yeah. Or as some people would say, the 51st state of America, Dave, but that's another discussion. I didn't say that. No, but he genuinely, his accent is just fantastic because later on, he's going full, thespian English, isn't he, at certain points? It's like he does his normal voice and then goes, oh, shit, I'm playing a character here that's, from 1887. I don't know he's supposed to be British. Well, he's not British. He's supposed to be Dutch, and he Van Helsing Dutch. But I don't know what the accent is anyway.
Dutch, doesn't it? Van
Something, yeah. But no, I think it starts really well. I love the cinematography of this. It feels like you said about the Wolverine computer game. It feels like almost computer game levels. And I know it gets slated in a lot of reviews for the CGI, but I love the way it sets it up. Jekyll and Hyde, the monster's just huge. He's even got a cigar in, Dave, and I'm thinking, is that like a bit of a nod to Wolverine? He's got like a full cigar, hasn't he, as he confronts him in Paris and they have that battle. But again, I just think I don't know, it sounds silly, but I almost waiting for the claws to come out, Dave. I know, he shouldn't, because he'd only done a couple of X-Men and he had no idea he was going to become this absolutely one character actor, even though he's done some great films like The Great Showman and all that sort of thing. But for me, he's always going to be Wolverine no matter what. I saw a picture of him before on the stage and all I'm doing is zooming in, looking at his body going, he's in Wolverine shape. He's got to be filming for the new Avengers. Have you seen Chris Evans at the moment?
No.
Oh my word. If obviously there's the rumour, isn't there? Now, spoilers, but I don't know if you know this there, but spoilers 1, 2, 3, and that's unusual for me not to just spoil it anyway, but he's supposed to be Captain Hydra, is it, in the new Avengers or something like that? But he looks ripped up to he looks
right.
He came to a premiere of something and he's got proper tight shirt on, he's ripped up, got the glasses, got the hair cut back and everything, and everyone's putting underneath the memes going, I know you're playing Captain America, but I just can't prove it at the moment. One of them, he's a bit of a throwback to The Wire, I think, one of the characters in that. But yeah, he looks in tip-top shape. So again, just going off it slightly, it's you're always following Hugh Jackman and that, but yeah, he's Logan. And I don't think really he's that far away from Logan in a lot of this movie, if I'm being honest, which, Dave, I'm not complaining about, because I think this is a great action movie, if not some terrible acting, and especially Dracula. I think he's fucking terrible, but I think the actual movie is a good movie.
Yeah, I almost think Liam Neeson, Nielsen, fucking aeroplane guy.
Leslie Nielsen.
Not Liam.
Liam plays his son. I've just watched the new Naked Gun with Pamela Anderson, actually. He plays his son, Evan Jr. It is actually, there is some good bits in it. I think you'd enjoy it. There is some, it's all innuendo and just stupid things. I don't think it's as good as the first one, but it's not a bad movie. I did enjoy it. There's some good bits that make you laugh, honestly. Yeah, it works quite well. You wouldn't think it does, but it does work quite well.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I think I remember Leslie Nielsen taking the piss out of the old Bram Stoker's Dracula, and I think he played a better Dracula. So, yeah, I do think... I can't remember what the guy's name is, but he sort of brings the movie down a bit. I feel like as the main protagonists, you've got Hugh Jackman and Kate Beckinsale. You need a better Dracula, I think. You know, someone who's got a bigger presence. So Richard Roxburgh is his name, you know, that famous guy.
He's an Aussie though, Dave.
Yeah, so I'm guessing maybe they filmed it over there. But for me, this is, you know, prime Hugh Jackman, really. Like I say, he's not that far away from Logan, but he's got that cool kind of I don't give a fuck attitude. Now, I'd forgotten about how it opens with the Dracula thing. And again, I don't know if they did it in black and white as an homage to young Frankenstein, but I thought the aesthetic of it looked pretty good. But when it really kicks off is when you get Van Helsing, and then you've got Mr. Hyde, haven't you?
Yeah.
And I know it gets stick for the CGI, but come on, it's fucking 2004. Some of the shocking CGI. Remember watching Blade? Like the awful kind of blood monster thing that you had at the end there. So CGI is... You can't compare it to today's standards and go back to 2004 and say, oh, this was touchy. I remember watching this at the time and I'm like, fucking hell, how did they do that? Even the Incredible Hulk was pretty awful, that first one, wasn't it? The Ang Lee Hulk.
Yeah, that was. But it's still a good movie. And there's bits of it I enjoy. I enjoy some of that.
But the Hulk itself took a massive jump up in 2008, didn't it, with the Ed Norton one? Feels like we're back on Comics in Motion, Chris. But so yeah, I think the Mr. Hyde was acceptable. The thing that I didn't love, I've said it. So what I'd say is, I definitely did still enjoy this. It's action, it's fun. And so I did enjoy it for that. I don't necessarily think it's Shakespeare or anything. But the thing that immediately not took me out, but just jarred with me a little bit, Hugh Jackman is Wolverine, but he's not supposed to be Wolverine in this movie. And so when you've got this, let's again keep drawing the comparisons, but you've got this Mr. Hyde, who is basically the fucking Hulk. He's that big. And basically, with one swat, he'll break every bone in a human body. But you've got Van Helsing sort of talking it up. Like, this is not the Peter Cushing Van Helsing that we're used to. This is a Hugh Jackman modeled Van Helsing. And he Mr. Hyde's right behind him. And he's cool as a cucumber, isn't he? He's not phased at all. He's like, oh, I might have to kill you, sort of thing. And I was like, mate, you're not Wolverine. He could just squish you if he wanted to.
Yeah.
And so they end up with this action scene. And again, it's like, I wasn't sure if he was supposed to be superhuman, like even if he's very skilled and what have you, and martial artist, and he's got all his gadgets. That's one thing, but if you're flying off the side of a fucking church, it's not going to end well for a human being. So yeah, I think I enjoyed it, but it was a bit too far. I think it was. The band of believability was stretched a bit too far for me.
Yeah, and I do agree with that to a point as well, because I think like the when he goes to see like the priest and that, and he goes to confession and everything, but then we go full on James Bond. That's what takes me out.
Yeah,
it's the full on James Bond bit. So he's like that Friar guy is basically Q. We've got the same setup as James Bond, where they're trying different things. These guns going off, these little things. He's basically Hugh Jackman was basically auditioning because there wasn't Casino Royale at this point. It was like he was auditioning for James Bond because he's doing the same thing. Roger Moore and you would get Pierce Brosnan do the jokey side of picking stuff up and taking the piss. You know, I know Timothy Dalton's a bit more serious than that. He's not like Daniel Craig, but you get that joking. Daniel Craig was more like innuendo type jokes, whereas it was literally the Roger Moore sort of physical comedy, like, oh, what's this do here? Oh, nothing. I've been developing this for 12 years. And I'm like, this is just James Bond. What the fuck's going on? And then he gets Q, the little monk guy, and goes, right, you're coming with me. And he's like, I don't want to. Well, you're coming with me. See you later. Carl, innit? That's what he's called. David Wenham plays it. And that's ridiculous. And I'm like, this is every James Bond movie we've ever seen in our entire lives, you know, and he's going like, oh, I've just got like, you know, the Batman utility belt thing. I always go back to this. I've mentioned it loads of times now. The old quicksand birthday cake. And it's like, how are they going to get out of it? Stay tuned next. And the next episode, from nowhere, he goes, well, Robin, it's just as well I've put our utility belts with rocket boosters in our boots or whatever it was. And they fly, I know I'm butchering it because I've probably said it wrong in the past, but, and they fly out. It was like that levels of like, this is fucking stupid. I'd never realised that there was a full James Bond like homage to it. And it's not the only film where we get homages to, Dave. And I don't know whether they're just ripping it off or what, but that is like so jarring, that bit, that it's like, yeah, I'll go with it. I'll go with the fact he's got gadgets and everything, but also you're just ripping movies off. And that's from that point, I start seeing things in different movies. I mean, it rips off Indiana Jones. I don't know how many times in certain parts of it, especially when he's with Kate Beckinsale. Like I've got to say though, Dave, as much as I've got a crush on her, she's absolutely stunning in this. I've got to say, one of my favourite like actresses in the movie, just purely just such a beautiful woman. But
favorite actress is that because of her craft? Is that
yeah, it is, Dave. Yeah, she's method? English and yeah, method. He's like a De Niro thing. You can clearly see she's been living with bats.
Respect her so much as an actress.
She's been living in Catholic churches and stuff and researching like Transylvania and everything and living with bats upside down, hanging and that. You just understand how a bat lives and stuff. Just getting full on method. I don't know what you're implying, but I think her accent is terrible through it, isn't it? It's almost like when we were laughing
what
about
do
me.
You mean?
Yes, hello there. We will not. That is my brother. If that's a bad accent, that's what should have done the trailer, Dave, if I would have been prepared. But it's bad, her accent. It takes me out every time she's like in jeopardy or she's trying to explain to Van Helsing with her brother and everything. And it's just, it does take you out. Some of that is proper shaky, I must admit.
Yeah, I mean it is, but again, I don't think this is a movie that you can take too seriously, and I almost think she's like a prototype for what Scarlett Johansson's Black Widow became. Because even when they go and they try to capture the werewolf, and her brother gets taken by the werewolf and whatever, the trap goes up and she spins around like Black Widow or something. So I think I don't know if that influenced any of the choices that came later, in the MCU stuff, but I think she is almost that superhero female character, isn't she? So again, this is 2004, so we're out of the 90s now, so you can actually have strong female characters.
Oh, 100%. And I mean, she was in that other movie as well. I think I've seen that, Dave, which is a bit strange. Underworld, that was just before this, wasn't it? The year before. But I don't know with that, the idea. And you're right, it's not one you're going to go into it and go, oh my God, they've ruined it by doing this or whatever. It's not like that. I totally agree. As a pure action movie, I thoroughly enjoy it. And I don't think the CGI overkill. You're playing with fucking vampires. What the hell are they going to do? You know what I mean? It's like you can do practical effects, and you were saying about League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, the guy who played Dracula was actually in that the year before, Dave. So that's a bit of a callback. So
right.
So I think with this, you're right. The story's ridiculous because when you get the three vampire witches come down to the village, don't they? And from nowhere. And Van Helsing's got one of his new weapons he's got from Q. And he's firing, I don't know how many fucking
unlimited
arrows.
Bullets.
Bullets.
It was a game, wasn't it? He picked up the cheat code for unlimited arrows.
Yeah, you've been playing GTA, Dave. Up, down, left, right, RB, LB, or whatever the cheat was, X, Y, Z. And he would genuinely, like, he's firing them completely in here. And then eventually he does kill one of them. But the whole premise of, like, the sun coming off, then it goes off, and then they come and they're trying to get her, aren't they? Because at this point, a brother has fell over the side because he was getting chased by a werewolf. He shoots the werewolf and he goes into the ravine, doesn't he? So we don't know where he is at this point. So she's going on about that. But then you can see with Van Helsing, one thing I do like about the Van Helsing character is the fact that he's got this amnesia. So he doesn't know everything. We've had a little bit of thing with the priest.
Fucking, can we just pretend, filmmakers, that he's not Wolverine with the amnesia as well?
He's got a friend called Charles as well, Dave. But so it's fine.
Hey, Bob. Well, I've got to say, I mean, you said about the witches, Dracula's brides.
Yes.
And absolutely stunning. The makeup is done perfectly. But Chris, I didn't notice this the first time watching, but I noticed it this time. Why are they dressed up like they've wandered off the set of Aladdin?
I was going to say there's a lot of bounce back ability, Dave, which was a word around 2004 because of Soccer AM. There is definitely uplift in their outfits, 100%. And there's a few.
Well, it's probably around about the Wonder Bra time, or was that was 90s actually? Wasn't
that was 90s, Dave.
Yeah.
Allegedly, I don't remember that in the very catalogue, whether it's a Littlewood's catalogue, but. But you're right. I mean, the dress bizarre, and then they've even got colours, haven't they, to differentiate who each one is. Not that you give a shit about them because they're basically his brides. They come down, do goes May, and don't they? They're trying to get Kate Beckinsale's character. They're trying to sort of get her Anna, and it doesn't really make sense. And then you got that weird guy who does sort of look like Dracula, and he's part of the village, but then he isn't part of the village. You can see straight from the get-go he's a baddie. And I do think that watching it this time, that scene in the village goes on for far too long, doesn't it? When they introduce Van Helsing to everyone and they're about to sort of like, all the villagers are going to take him out. They've all got axes and hammers and everything. And then he sort of gets the respect of everybody because he's a lunatic and he's the only one who can stand up to these sort of vampires or whatever they are. I don't know. It just goes on and on. However, the effects are great. I mean, the poor cow gets thrown through a fucking building, and the next minute it's there going, moo. It's absolutely fine.
Wasn't bothered at all, was it? But yeah, you mentioned about Van Helsing kind of kills one of Dracula's brides, and they're all upset. And I think, to be honest, I know the village scene went on for a while, but I kind of feel like that was the best scene in the whole movie.
No.
I think it went downhill from there because I don't know if they were trying to create almost this movie universe for these, universal characters. But that's kind of what it feels like. And, again, if you think when the MCU released Avengers Assemble, that was a massive surprise because you had so many characters in there, so many big marquee names. Leading up to that, everyone's thinking, well, you just can't have too many characters because every time we'd seen it done, they always ruined the movie. And I feel like it's a bit like that with this movie. Just there's too much in it. It goes into, so you got Frankenstein there, you've got werewolves, you got Dracula there, and you got Dracula's brides, and you got Van Helsing, and you got, Kate Beckinsale's like the sort of token love interest almost. And then it gets to, well, the reason Dracula needs Frankenstein or Frankenstein's monster is because he needs the technology to create, more vampires. And then you talk about ripping off things like James Bond and Indiana Jones. It then seems to go into ripping off aliens because suddenly we have all these pods with like little baby vampires in there. And, it's going to be the lightning that will spark them into life. But I was thinking, A, how did the pods get there? And B, how did he fertilize them?
Well, if you want me to draw you a diagram, Dave, I don't know.
Like, there were a lot of pods there. Did he
He's been busy.
go around each one and sort of like Oh, fucking hell, here we go.
Well, he is cold-blooded, Dave.
506.
Yeah, well, he needs to be red-blooded. He needs to be hot-blooded, doesn't he? That's if he's going to fertilize all them eggs. But I think I don't get that. I didn't get that at all. And I must admit, when they transform from like the human form into like vampires and everything, is the skin sort of melts off them, but then they can regenerate it.
Yeah.
What I found weird about the guy who plays Dracula, I mean, just Dracula in general, is how many times was he stabbed or hit or something, and he fakes it and goes, oh, and then he goes, it's like it must have been at least 10 times that happened in the movie where somebody stabbed him, maybe not 10, but you know what I mean? That's a payoff that should have been at the end. You know, like one of them where Van Helsing thinks he's got him and he stabs him through the heart, or Anna does, and she's like, I've got you. But it happens loads of times. So by the time we get to the third or fourth time someone's just tried to kill him with a different weapon, it's like, he's not going to fucking die. He might look like he is. Even the whole, the cross and that, when Van Helsing does it and he starts like burning and he's doing the old, it was like in some respects, I know it's a completely different reference, and you talk about comics emotion, is the Avengers, when they go back in Endgame and they're like out to the Hulk, get angry, play, and he's like, that's like punching a car, doesn't he, in that, because he's like, I'm sick to death of just being this lunatic. Whereas everyone watching it, let's be honest, wanted that out of the Hulk, Dave, because they fucked him over in that movie. But that's another discussion that I'm still harbouring 6 years down the line. The Bellends, the Russo brothers, that's the only thing they messed up for me. But it was like, well, we know he's just going to look at the camera and go, they're fucking stupid, these aren't they? It's like someone shooting Superman. It's like, after about the third bullet, I think you'd know that they don't work. I just put your gun down if I were you. I found that really jarring. And again, the guy who's playing him, he's got to be a mate of Hugh Jackman's. He's an Aussie. And I know he's been in different things. Looking at his resume there, he's done like, Mission Impossible 2, there's different things, Heartbreak Ridge and all that sort of thing. So he's done some great movies, but he's not a memorable actor. And I kept thinking you played Dracula. When we played Brian Clough, the Welsh guy, what's he called? The actor, he plays him, doesn't he, Dracula?
Oh, yeah.
He did that. He did Brian Clough, didn't he?
You can take all your medals and put them in the bin.
Yeah. And that was his Dracula as well, Dave, I think. But but I kept thinking of him when he was playing, because he was like...
He's Welsh, isn't he? The
guy.
Yeah,
I can't remember his bloody name. Oh, everyone's going to be going mad, going, you idiots.
But shouting, here we go.
He'd give $1 million. He paid a load of debts off, didn't he, on ITV, on a TV show.
Michael Sheen.
That's it, Michael Sheen. But again... I think he played a better Dracula. And this guy, he's like a B-rated Dracula. I don't feel at any point, even when he transforms, that Van Helsing is really in jeopardy. Like, I don't see it. I know he does a few things and he travels down and kills people, but I'm never convinced by it. And I think even the whole premise of finding her brother is bullshit. I mean, I love the action. I'm with you. Like, as a movie, I think it's on for far too long. It's on for 2 hours, 11 minutes. That is ridiculous. This could be a 90-minute movie, couldn't it? Cut all the fluff out, and it could be, because some of the scenes go on longer than they are, and I just don't feel there's a real story there. It's only when Van Helsing becomes face-to-face with Dracula that he's sort of like saying, you don't remember, do you? You don't remember me. Let me... Yeah, and what makes me laugh is he doesn't know who he is. Van Helsing doesn't know, who Dracula is, but he lets him get within about 3 feet of him, and he's like, do you want me to tell you? I'll sort your memories out. And I'm like, this guy can turn at any point into a vampire. You don't know at this point that you're not human, because he's an angel, isn't he? He's like the archangel.
He's Gabriel, isn't he?
Yeah, he's Gabriel. So he's the opposite. But you're sort of like, okay, that's fine. But like, why would you be so close to him? It's bullshit. There's loads of times Anna is about to get fucking bit on the neck and something happens. Like, obviously you say about one of the witches gets killed, the bride gets killed at the start. Well, the other two, they are then hurt by that. They escape. There's something else later on that happens. There's about 3 or 4 times that Anna's about to take one for the team and become a werewolf. And then at the last second, it changed. So I think that's what I think is a little bit weird at times, is like there's too many sort of bluffs, isn't there? Like the sort of fake outs. And I think that's what at times where you do, I think you're probably right actually about that. Maybe I'm being overcritical about that fight scene at the start, maybe the best bit, because I feel like even though it gets a bit more violent and the tone changes dark, it's a lot darker as well, isn't it? Because they're in like these different catacombs and everything like that. It just doesn't feel like there's any real jeopardy to the characters. I mean, Anna, he's a fucking parkour champion. It's ridiculous. There's not any real powers to her, is there, other than she's agile? But for some reason, she holds her own. It's weird. She's the Steve Rogers to Thanos, I think, in this movie. Even though Steve Rogers is amazing, but
yeah, I agree. I just don't think there's no peril. There's no danger. And straight away, I think that started off when we meet Van Helsing, and like I say, you've got this Hulk-sized Mr. Hyde, and he's just not he's not breaking a sweat, he's not nervous, he's not anything, he's just cool as a cucumber, and like you say, in Dracula's presence. But so he's already overpowered, and then you make him a fucking werewolf as well. Yeah. It's like, so our main protagonist is him. I know you've got Anna there as well, but she is sort of the side character. And then that's proven because, like say, he gets turned into a werewolf, and then he ends up fucking killing her.
Yeah, and yes.
Sorry, go on.
No, sorry, and you said about the werewolf. Sorry, I was going to say that's got to be a Wolverine nod as well. When he starts, like, when Van Helsing becomes the werewolf and he starts sharpening his claws, that was almost Wolverine because his claws went dinging. I'm like, oh yeah, he's gone full on. I'm Wolverine, by the way, everyone, just in case you didn't know, so, and he is, and you're right, he is far too powerful for Dracula, isn't he? Dracula's fucked at this point. He's like, he can't even contend with him, can he? It's bizarre. It's bizarre. It's like a real shame what they've done there. They could have genuinely had a brilliant movie, and I just think at times they've let themselves down. And apparently they were going to make a sequel. They had all the set made and everything, even though it made money. But because of the critics, everyone was like, "Yeah, we're not doing that ever again." So it's probably in a backlot somewhere, Dave, or it's been reused somewhere else.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny, isn't it? We both said we really enjoyed it, and we've just spent the last half an hour ripping it to pieces. But I think if they have had their time again, bearing in mind, like I say, we're 4 years away from the start of Iron Man and what the MCU became, I'd have liked to have seen them be a bit more brave and just introduce, one or two characters per movie, and then build up to this kind of crossover film where you've got Frankenstein, Dracula, the werewolves, the brides and everything, Van Helsing, and I think that would have made it better. But it just seems like they've just tried to pack too much in. And yeah, still an enjoyable nonsense movie, but if you stop for 2 seconds to actually think about it, there's just so much nonsense there.
Yeah, there is. And you're right, we have shifted it a little bit, but I am enjoying it. I think it's like the action's good as much as like the Dracula thing. I think there's different things, and I'm not a big fan of the Frankenstein stuff though, Dave. I must admit, really like. Doesn't work that. He's got the whole
thespian Frankenstein.
I will get you again. Yeah. All right, okay. I know Dr. Frankenstein, he's not actually, the monster's not Frankenstein, is it really? But it's the green and ooze thing that he's got as a heart and it's in his head. Like,
I thought that was interesting, wasn't it? Again, just the almost cyberpunk technology. It's a little bit out of time, but I thought it looked quite cool.
Yeah, and you're right, what other movie does it do have things like this where it's set years ago, but you've got that like advancement in like guns and
one that I've had in my back pocket for ages is Wiki Wiki Wild Wild West.
Yeah, that's it. Wild Wild West. Yeah. Oh my God. You've had loads. That's a terrible movie. You've had loads like that. Yeah, keep that in your back pocket. Hopefully, he's got a zip on him. We never see it again. But I'm saying that it's your pick next week. But yeah, anything could happen. No, but I'm with you. I think like it's just some strange stuff going on, and I think at the end of the movie, it's interesting because he goes and kills Dracula, and then you've got Carl there, the Mormon Carl, a fucking monk, an 19th century fucking monk's called Carl, unbelievable, in fucking Notre Dame or wherever he went in Paris. Good old Carl, but then he ends up killing Anna, doesn't he? You know, she injects him, doesn't he? And stuff with the serum and that, and I mean that means he can never turn back to a werewolf. Is that right? After that point, because
I think that brings him back from the brink, doesn't it? That's like the cure. So yeah, that's hopefully not a vaccine. You know, don't want to set people off.
Well, that
yeah. I mean, that's the tragedy, I guess, of it, isn't it? You know, so he kills her, but she's actually managed to stab him with the cure.
Yeah, but Dave, come on. That fucking bit where he sees a fucking ghost of her in the sky and she's got a tear rolling down her face, smiling at him. Fuck me. All we needed was fucking Anakin and fucking Obi-Wan, you know, to fucking stand next to her. It's fucking ridiculous. The one bit that's stupid, and I say about nods, is that's definitely a Luke and Leia nod when he gets hold of it and he's going across the rope. You know, when the werewolf jumps on it, he looks at her like what Luke does with Leia in Star Wars. And then the rope breaks and they fall. I don't know. I was just looking for little rip-offs of different movies at this time. But it does feel, watching this now, that this was almost a promo video for Hugh Jackman for Star Wars, James Bond, even Batman. He was throwing all sorts of different ranges in, I think. He's Wolverine at this point anyway for me. But 20 years later, he's still Wolverine's son, so he obviously did something right. I don't know. It just feels weird. It feels like it isn't Hugh Jackman's vehicle. He's not bankrolled it. He's not directed it and put himself in the middle or anything like that. But I don't know. It just feels like the scripts may have been changed just to make him look basically invincible, almost like The Rock, and he can't lose a fight in the movie type situation. He's not like that, Hugh Jackman. But I don't know. It's a great movie, and I really enjoyed it, and I'm glad I picked it. But I was a bit disappointed watching it this time because other than the action, there's not a lot to the movie, really.
No, but I mean, who knows? The Van Helsing Hugh Jackman could turn up in a Deadpool movie or something in the future, couldn't he? It would be interesting if that role was reprised, because like I say, I enjoyed it, even though we've ripped it to pieces. But Chris, should we get into our final review?
Let's go. So, Dave, I mean, it's already getting a point off me just having Kate Beckinsale in. I'm making no excuses for that. She's unbelievable. There you go. What an actress. Amazing range. But I think it's a good movie. I genuinely enjoyed it, and I would watch it again. I really would watch it again. There's so much wrong with it. We absolutely, we've tore into it in little bits there. I think you're right. The middle part of this, we have laid into it, but I think it's just, whether you like the CGI or not, I think it works well. The fight stuff's good, but the guy's Dracula's terrible. The accents are fucking awful. I mean, they make my trailer voices sound like I am a proper thespian, Dave. But I think I'm going to put it, I was thinking about this when I'm going to put it, I was going to put it in the middle. I think I'm going to put it at the top of Elm Street, because it's not a great movie, but it's also a great 2-hour action romp if you really, want to watch something. I'd definitely watch it again. So it's a weird way to put that. I should put it in the middle, really, but I think it's in Elm Street because there's so many bad things in this, but also so many good things as well, which makes no sense. But there you go. What about yourself, Dave?
So I think I'm going to rate it a little bit higher, just for the fun factor. And you've got a great cast there. I think, again, I'm very forgiving of the CGI. I appreciate the fact it's 2004. I think they did a decent job of it then. And yeah, I think the nonsense kind of nitpicks that we've had at talking about it, do sort of take you out of it. It could have been so much better. But I would absolutely watch this again. So I think right in the middle there, it's a hill valley. And something I hadn't mentioned, I mean, I don't think the score was necessarily fantastic, but it was Alan Silvestri who did this. Only fucking Mr. Back to the Future, Predator. He's done some great soundtracks. So I think for this, they had all the ingredients to make a really great movie. And they've ended up making, a very fun movie, but like I say, it could have been so much better. And I think there's always rumours, isn't there, about Universal Pictures doing something else with this list of characters, because they own all the Frankenstein, Dracula and whatever. So I wouldn't be surprised if we saw something like this done again in the future.
Yeah, and our part of the trivia stuff, just reading up, they said it's been in development on and off now since 2012. They wanted to reprise it or do a sequel. Then even now at 2020, they started looking again that there's some sort of scripts and development going on for the movie. I don't know who they're going to play.
Right.
Whether I'd watch it, whatever happens. Obviously, 20 years later or 21 years later, it's got to be better, hasn't it, than what we got. Which whether Hugh Jackman had come back or they've even apparently Tom Cruise was even looked at, Dave, for something Van Helsing many years ago. But there you go. But no, I think it was a good pick by me, Dave. It all goes well for the season, and obviously you're the person who goes after me next week, so I don't got a clue what we're doing, but knowing it's Halloween season, I'm pretty much going to be watching this with every light on in my house. So what have we got next week, Dave?
Well, for next week, and I did put a few red herrings into the calendar.
It's not like you, Dave.
Off there. But when you were saying about, you're looking for something, maybe a bit of Lauren Avedon. Is there a Lauren Avedon scary movie or something? Well, I was thinking, does he actually know? Has he reached into my brain and he can see what I'm actually thinking of covering? And so, Chris, we are not only going to do the 1974 The Legend of the Seven Golden Vampires, which is part horror, part martial arts extravaganza. We're going to bring back an old favorite. So we had various issues with copywriting when things got published to YouTube. They're like, hang about, we can hear something in there that is a copyright. And we just had so much feedback, which is like, we really enjoy like listening to the trailer, but listening to your raw reactions. And so we're just like, oh, fuck it, let's just deal with the copyright shit. And I'll send you a message from prison. But
Dave,
so we are going to bring back the proper. So we're going to continue with our homemade trailers at the start of the show, but then leading into the preview for next week, what we're going to cover, then we're going to play through the trailers and you'll hear what our raw reactions are. And I can't wait to hear your reaction for this one. So let's get into it. The trailer for The Legend of the Seven Golden Vampires.
Let's do it.
I can't wait for you to watch this. I've watched it before.
What?
From Warner Brothers, who crashed the action barrier with Enter the Dragon, comes a new dimension in Black Belt Thrills.
Black Belt Thrills? Nice.
As Hammer, masters of horror, and the Shaw Brothers, masters of kung fu, join forces.
There are some faces in here you are not going to expect.
Ever filmed.
Let me see. Masters of Martial Arts stretching it, judging by this trailer. Skeletor, Dave. What's going on here?
You recognise that?
Christopher Lee.
There. Close. Peter Cushing.
Peter Cushing, that's it, yeah. How's he ended up in this?
Grand Moff Tarkin.
What you must understand is that they are already dead. I'll fall before them, and you too will be eternally damned.
This is BBC One, 11 o'clock at night. Nothing else on as a horror movie. Oh my god. Unbelievable.
the legend of the 7 golden vampires.
What is this?
Starring Peter Cushing and Julie Edge. Filmed entirely on location in Hong Kong.
Wow, that's fucking great, that,
And
mate.
co-starring David Chang, a new kung fu champion in the black
Yeah,
belt
we've never
Hall of
seen him
Fame.
again after
No.
this David Chang.
I mean, I've got to say, it's not the greatest of martial arts I've ever seen, but
Yes, no, well, I mean, Bruce Lee died on the year before or so, so
yeah.
We've destroyed half their numbers.
had an open goal here, but
These
David Chang,
creatures can die.
no.
Don't give up now.
I bet Peter Cushing would have looked back at this fondly. The year of all.
It's a fight to the death against the 7-fold forces of evil. As
Aye, aye.
Hammer and the Shaw Brothers together create the first martial arts horror spectacular ever filmed.
This is brilliant. Bring back the trailers. That was brilliant. Oh,
So there you go.
God.
And you will be surprised to learn, Chris, this is on YouTube, so you can watch it. I'm amazed a
Oh
film of this
my
quality
God.
would be there. So
I might watch
Yeah,
it in the gym tomorrow.
I imagine Peter Cushing thought of this film very fondly indeed.
Oh, I know and I'm looking forward to this actually, Dave. You're absolute bellend, absolute dummy. Here. Did you know though, Dave? I said Christopher Lee. Did you know that the rumor for years, and it's still going, is Christopher Lee was the inspiration for James Bond? That actually, the whole character was based on Christopher Lee because he reckoned he was actually a spy and everything.
Really? I mean, I'm not sure the timelines line up
Oh,
there
his-
because
his
Ian
friends-
Fleming wrote the original novels, didn't they?
No, he's friend of Ian Fleming's. I reckon Ian Fleming based him on Christopher Lee. He was a super spy, Dave. You know, like he was like a secret agent, SAS, everything, absolute nails. Honestly, look it up. I'll just throw a bit of trivia in there for you, but that's what they reckon. Ian Fleming was a good friend of his.
All right. Very good.
There you go. Nothing to do with the legend of 7 golden vampires, Dave. But, you know, yeah. I'm looking forward to that. 1974, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he was Francisco Scaramanga in The Man with
He
the
was.
Golden Gun, wasn't he?
He was, Dave, man with 3 nipples. I mean, I've seen it. You know what? I've told you, I've seen a video of the guy with the 2 cocks. That was unbelievable, that. And he was well endowed as well. He had a lot of people asking for his services.
It just reminded me of
Do you
that.
remember that?
Fucking Gareth in the office. Oh, I could show you a magazine. Oh, could you now?
Fucking brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. I don't know where that story come from, but I have seen the video, Dave. I think it was a WhatsApp video share, but yeah. He said it was a curse, the guy, but it didn't look like it looking at the video that I'd seen. But anyway, right, let's move on. So, thank you everyone for supporting us. I've got the trailers are back because, again, as usual, I'm not prepared. I just went in that blind, so you've done me there, Dave. I am looking forward to that, though. In fact, it's on YouTube. The shithouse here will be able to watch it in daytime, which I don't think I need, to be honest. It just looks silly, doesn't it? It looks like normal. It looks like a martial arts movie, but everyone's just wearing masks to say it's Halloween or whatever it is. But so
Just in the dark in a cave for a bit.
yeah, I mean, credit to Peter Cushing's going to be interested as well, because I don't think whether his career was, I mean, before Star Wars, Dave, obviously after he'd done all this horror stuff. So maybe it's just his horror. Is that Hammer House of Horrors? Is that why he's involved in this? Then I take it. It's an offshoot or
I
something.
think so. I mean, he's an icon for the Hammer movies, wasn't he? I mean, talking about Christopher Lee, wasn't it? I'm trying to think which way round it was. I think it was. Van Helsing was Peter Cushing, wasn't he?
Yeah.
I think Christopher Lee was the.
He was Dracula, wasn't he?
Yeah.
So it's a bit apt, really, Dave. But no, honestly, looking forward to that. So massive thank you, everyone. If you want to email us at vhsstrikesback@gmail.com. If you want to follow us on social media at vhsstrikesback. If you do want to support us, please get over to patreon.com/the VHS Strikes Back. So a big thank you to Reese, Nick, Greg, Gareth, Mike, Lee, Helen, Dylan, Dan, Justin, Susan, Tim, Matt, Hales, Kent, Looker of the Green, Herbs, Jack, Math, Blake, John Hammond, and Mr. Tony Farina. So thank you so much, guys. Amazing stuff. Dave, It's ridiculous movie coming next week. I can't wait. Absolute. And it's out on Blu-ray as well, I believe, looking at the trailer on YouTube. But no.
Oh, really?
Excellent. Yeah, excellent. So I reckon it's a cult classic, this one. It's got to be on it.
Yeah, I mean, I like I say, I've seen it before, so I know what I'm getting into, but you kind of got a flavour of it, to be honest. There are no surprises. It's pretty much what you saw in the trailer there.
Love it, love it. So, Dave, what musical maestro music have you got for us?
Well, again, I'm going back to the same well, because around this time in 2004, I've mentioned it before, but, watching a lot of Kerrang TV, and so if you take yourself back to that time, nu metal was the thing flooding the airwaves, really. You had various things like Linkin Park, Limp Bizkit, but Evanescence was quite a big sound at the time. I mean, I think they were on the Daredevil. We've talked a lot about superheroes today, haven't we? But the 2003 Ben Affleck Daredevil movie, and you had Evanescence on there. And I don't know if I ever told you, I did join a band. So I think was literally the last band before I joined you guys. And they had a female singer, and they had a couple of songs that were very, very Evanescent. So 2004 just takes me back to that time in terms of the music. In terms of the lyrics, I was thinking, okay, where do we start from? And actually, I thought, well, with all of these different characters, the song that comes to mind is the Monster Mash.
Tune.
This is the Van Helsing Smash. Emo, miserable, over the top, mopey new metal.
Skyliner, everything, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Dr. Frankenstein worked late one night in his Gothic lab with lightning bright. He pulled the lever, the monster stir, while Dracula steamed with plants absurd. He did the smash. It was a smash. It caught on in a flash. The monster started with a groan and a spat. Jackman arrived looking sharp in his head. Crossbow in hand, he scanned the hole. You wonder if he's fighting a mutant or he did the smash. It was a smash. It caught on in a flash.
This is definitely Kerrang.
Yeah.
Helsing and Anna, Dutch bats and screams. Frankenstein quoting lines from dreams. His brides are perfect, their pose is so good. Even Dracula stared. You know
Good one, Dave. That's proper 90s, that. 100%.
Yeah, see, I think it's more early 2000s, like I say, and the bass line. I used around this time. I used to listen to a lot of Korn as well, and they always used to have this kind of bass sound. I always used to say it sounded like he was playing the bass with telegraph poles. You know, it just sounded so deep, so dirty, and yeah. Again, really driving home the emo sort of sound. You can just imagine Tobey Maguire, you know, going down the street in his emo setup in Spider-Man 3. So there you go. Last comic book reference for the day. But anyways, thanks for the great chat. I think we saw it roughly the same this week. I cannot wait for next week, though. Hopefully everyone enjoyed the trailer being back part of the show. Thanks to all our listeners out there. Thanks to all our supporters. And we'll speak to you next time.
Bye.
That's it, man. Game over, man. It's game over. What the fuck are we gonna do now? What are we gonna do?
Maybe we could build a fire, sing a couple of songs, huh? Why don't we try that?
We better get back, because it'll be dark soon, and they mostly come at night. Mostly.
I'll be back.
That's not. We came, we saw, we kicked its ass.
Wax on, wax off. One ring to go. All right. Ding, ding. Bust you up. Go for it.
Well, here we go. Ain't so bad. Ain't so bad. Ain't so bad. Come on. Come on, ain't so bad. Ain't nothing. Come on. You must be crazy or something. I'm crazy. You just a stupid fool. Maybe you crazy something. I ain't breathing heavy. He's a fool. He's stupid. I seen you in 6 months.
I must break you.